yeah, I'll give them props for sure. So this I'm just going to knock down a little bit. Kill that scan. Yeah, this whole thing here, I'm going to treat it as a imperfection in the photo. In all likelihood, it honestly could be something in there that was actually in the photo, but it's really intrusive or invasive, and I want it out. To be honest with you, I want it out of my picture, because right now this is my picture. I'm also going to be doing some parallaxing. Obviously not tonight, but later on down the road, I'm going to do some, I don't know if anyone is familiar with parallaxing, but it's basically, it's a really cool effect that you do with still images to make them look three-dimensional and make them look like they're moving and whatnot. So my intention is down the road to actually do a parallaxing stream and show you how to actually do some parallaxing. If you're constantly saying right now, what the hell is parallaxing? All I would say to you is YouTube it or Google it, because I'm not going to even attempt to try and explain it to you. But it's when you look at it, it's pretty freaky. It's you see it in documentaries. A lot of people in the industry call it the Ken Burns effect. And the only reason being is that Ken Burns, who's a documentary filmmaker, he does like a lot of sports documentaries. He does, like World War II stuff, World War I stuff. He does like really amazing documentaries. But some of the effects that he does, the reason they call it the Ken Burns effect is that in a lot of his documentaries. That was a nice little accident that happened there. See that? I might even just keep that. I'm gonna just fix this sock here too. Anyway, the Ken Burns effect. Because he was doing these documentaries that there wasn't a lot of moving video for. It was all just stills that he was working with. He started taking the stills and layering and creating layers within the still, and then and once again, this is what I'm talking about. If you're going to do an effect, you want to be very subtle about it. You don't want to do it where it's either going to annoy people or it's going to bring attention to the effect. Some of the best effects in movies. That's why I'm not a big fan of these huge action movies that it's like a thrill ride a minute and an explosion a minute, because it gets a little too overwhelming. But I'll tell you a great example of not overusing an effect is the Matrix, the original Matrix, the first one. That kind of that frozen in time effect that they used in that movie. They only used it 3 times in the entire movie. They used it at the beginning of the movie when what was her name? And her acting name was Trinity, or her character name was Trinity. Carrie-Anne Moss, the gorgeous Canadian Carrie-Anne Moss. where she's fighting the police in that apartment, and she jumps up in the air, and the camera spins around, and when you first saw it, you were like, what the hell did I just see? That was awesome. And then in the middle of the film, they show it again, and then near the end of the film, the one they actually became nicknamed Bullet Time, where he's bent over backwards and the camera's spinning around him, and all the bullet is zipping by him, and that all those effects, that's all you got. So when you left the theater, you were going like, oh my god, that effect was amazing, what the hell, and people, I guarantee you, were going home and YouTubing or trying to figure out how they did it. And I know I was. But if they would have overused that effect, you'd have walked out of the theater going, oh my god, I have vertigo now. I feel like I have motion sickness, because you wouldn't have been talking as pleasantly about that effect. But they used it the perfect amount of times. I mean, I always equate it to, it's like taking a starving man and, if you took a starving man and set him down in front of an all-you-can-eat buffet, he's gonna eat till he's either gonna puke or he'll be sick of food, and he won't appreciate it. But if you take a starving man and you give him a cracker, he's gonna think that's the world's best cracker. He's gonna be just completely enthralled with that cracker. So anyway, I digress. Ken Burns effect. You can YouTube or Google the Ken Burns effect, and you'll get an idea. So you can totally see, just in the short time that we've been working on this photo, from this section down to this section, how clean it's starting to look now. So once that's all done straight across, I mean, it's really gonna look amazing. And I'm gonna actually replace all this down here. Yeah, okay, so let's what do I want to do here? Do I want to do the face, or do I want to do the light? Let me try the light first. Okay, so that's the part. See, the thing is too, is that the little girl is actually not standing dead center of the vehicle, so she's off a little bit. So basically, on this side of the image, she's right here. So she's here. So basically, that light is kind of right here, which means at least a quarter of that light is behind her head. So the first thing I actually have to do is, well, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter, but the first thing I'd like to do is put the light in there. Just trying to think if the light, you know what, I'm going to do the face first, because I can cause the I can layer the images, so it really doesn't matter which one I do first. But I'm going to actually create a layer. I'm going to move it above this one. I'm going to come back down to my background. I'm going to grab my copy tool. I'm going to say probably, yeah. I'm going to do that. I'm going to say that, and I'm going to grab this right here. And I'm going to copy, and I'm going to paste a new layer. Actually, I can get rid of this layer. Copy and paste new layer. Now, the first thing I always do when I copy and paste new layer is I label it. And this I'm going to call left side head. now if I go like this, there it is. So here's the trick. Left side head is actually selected. I'm going to go Control T, which is transform. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit my shift button. If I don't hit my shift button, I can stretch this and manipulate it any way I want. If I hit my shift button, it will stay in proportion, and especially if you're scaling it with using the corner pins. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit my shift button. I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to go like this. And see how I'm lining it up with the strap on her dress. Okay, so I know she has two noses now, so I'm actually going to tighten it up a bit. That is going to be better. Now, once again, this is going to be a huge challenge. I don't want to end up making this person look like cross-eyed. I don't want to end up doing something that see, it's just it's not lining up the way I want it to, so I may have to so this is basically, that's the lineup. So what I'm doing is I'm actually taking this little black dot and I'm lining up with this black dot. Now the easiest way I can do it is to drop the opacity down so I can actually see over them and line them up, and that is that. Come up a bit, and I wish that would stop doing that. It's gonna be right there. Oh wait, maybe the lip's off a bit. It's right there. Alright, eyes look good, the nose looks perfect, the mouth is lining up, and I know this is off a bit. I mean, I can, once that's once this layer, I merge it with the background nut, I can make that strap go right to her shoulder. That's like so minor. But what I want to do is I actually want to come out, take a look, because people are not going to be looking at the photo this close. It's going to be sitting on a mantle. It's probably going to be about like that. So it's starting to look good. Yeah. Now I can work on that. All this area